Hello, this is a replay analysis for Davey Rocket. He is solo queuing 3v3, late season 8. This was a close loss, apparently. We can see that. So let's get into it. I've already taken a wee look at the replay, so we've got a few things to talk about. But so we might not watch the entire thing, we'll skip some bits. But there's some key things to take away. So let's take a look from the start. Oh, we're off. Yeah, so the kickoff doesn't go super well. I mean, look, kickoffs are pretty chaotic anyway. But oh god, I'm trying to get to the exact moment. Let's take a look at it briefly. Hold up. I mean, one of the reasons why it goes, it bangs towards your side. Like, it's actually okay in threes in particular if the kickoff ends up going towards your side. It's not great when it goes super high in the air towards your side, because it makes it really difficult for your teammates, particularly if they're not super solid on the walls or really fast to react to that kind of thing. And so ultimately your kickoff here put your teammates in a fairly awkward position, because they're not super. Oh, because Funky's already speeded up again, and ultimately ends up in a goal for your opponents. I mean, after the kickoff, there wasn't a lot you could have done specifically, because you were getting boost and rotating back. But I think it was your kickoff overall that made it awkward for them. Now, you're not always going to... I mean, I have kickoffs like that all the time, right? But I try to minimize them by trying to get more goal side on the ball. Johnny Boy has a really good tutorial on that. If you search kickoff tutorial Johnny Boy or something, he talks about, like, you can minimize that kind of thing happening by getting a little bit more goal side towards, so your car placing it placing your car between the ball and your goal, so it's much less likely to pop out towards your goal. Anyway, let's move on. Don't want to harp on that. All right, so on kickoff, we're cheating up. Should you have realistically seen that happening? Let's take a look. Oh, so you can see Funky's coming in for it. I mean, that kind of thing happens, right? Funky did beat you by a mile. One of the things that's going to come up quite often, particularly in this replay, is you're doing a lot of challenges where it's super clear that the opponents are going to reach it first. And that's just, I guess, like, it's like a reaction time thing and an experience thing, like sort of knowing when you're actually totally not going to win a challenge or even get a dunk, right? But also, like, minimizing these sort of situations where when we're going all in on these challenges, where we're flipping and we sort of end up on their wall, right? And then we're sort of out of the play for 5 seconds because of this challenge. Here, I think you shouldn't have turned around. When you're fairly low boost, right? And you should have done a full rotation to let your other teammate come in, because, well, who's the others? You got Lark, and we've got, Alan Becker H. So Alan Becker H is looking to push up. Oh, sorry. Where's the bit? Did I miss it? Okay, so no, sorry. This is where you turn around, I think. And the other guy wants to come in, but you're making this weird challenge there. And ultimately, there wasn't a lot to be gained from you challenging there. You're going to gain more just by rotating back, getting some boost, and being ready for the next play. So, I mean, I think a split second after this happened, you probably realized that, but that's just one of those things you've got to just keep in mind, is like, you want to keep those rotations going smoothly. I mean, there's obviously times to turn around if you notice you've got a really good opportunity. You can sort of cut rotation. Let's get back to you. But that wasn't one of those times. And now you're even more out of boost. And unfortunately, Alan Becker takes it from you. Alright. We're still low boost here. Right here you should be prioritizing just like grabbing one, potentially 2 pads while it's up in the air, because you've actually got a fair amount of time, although Funky's trying to make some sort of play. Alright. We make a nice save there to the corner. But now it's getting dangerous, because Aizen was waiting for it, and we're in a bit of a dicey situation here. It was just very lucky there that he hit the ball directly to you, because you went in a... I mean, obviously, like, right, we're on What are we on? How much boost? 30 something boost. This isn't the greatest goalkeeping position. It's certainly not the worst. Like you can cover a reasonable percentage of the goal there, but if he hits it anywhere towards your left, you're going to have a much harder time of dealing with it. But it works out nicely. Here, I would probably consider. What was Funky doing? Look, regardless, I mean, right here you spend a good several seconds just like looking at the ball in the air. You have no idea what's going on around you, and you've got 15 boost. Like, that shouldn't really be your ball. You shouldn't really be the one pushing this, because ultimately somehow you do get to the ball first. Although realistically, you shouldn't. I mean, let's take a look at what your teammates were doing while this was happening. So he's rotating back, getting some boost, waiting for you to make some sort of play. Okay, he's probably being pretty passive as well. Oh, sorry. Who else have you got? Lark, is it? All right, Lark's just hanging back. I think we've got one of the things that you've got to get away from. This is sort of tangential to what we're talking about in this play here. But one of the things you've got to get away from when moving up into the champion and higher ranks is that it stops being a sorry, let me start that sentence again. There's this concept of like you've got the first man, second man, and third man. Like one person's up, the next person's back, and the next person's back again. You know, and so you're rotating between those, and that's sort of like the really basic concept of rotations. But ultimately, it stops being about that. You can't have the situation where the first man does as much as he can until he runs out of boost or loses the ball, and then the second man comes in, and then the third man comes in, and they rotate. That doesn't really happen. You've got to sort of be thinking about, where am I hitting the ball? Am I hitting it to my teammates? And also just being ready for your teammates' hits. So rather than you can see that your teammates here are sort of just waiting for you to lose the ball, and then they'll push up, and then the next person will push up, rather than sort of trying to figure out, okay, well, where can I be so that my teammate can hit it to me? Or, I mean, like not necessarily like a specific, because passing doesn't become really good until, way higher up, but sort of trying to read the play more than just playing 1, 2, 3. That's kind of, I guess, a bit tangential, but this is sort of what's happening here with your teammates. Right. Anyway, somehow we make a play on that ball. We get a nice boost grab. Here, I think another situation is you need to unless you're looking to make a play on the ball, you need to make it like more clear that you're rotating back. And by that, I mean you should probably go out into the middle of the field. If you're rotating fully back, going to the back post, so around the other side of the on the other side of the field, rather than rotating back on the side that the ball is on, because this only makes it really confusing and awkward for your teammates to know when should I be coming in, because they have to get past you to be able to come into the ball. Yeah, and so you're right. Ooh, okay, so there's another one. I won't harp on that, but it's another one of those challenges where you've sort of gone too all in on a challenge that you're really not going to be able to win, because he clearly has it, but you sort of, now you're on their side of the pitch. Right, you've narrowly escaped getting some goals. See, this is good. So rotating back on the back post, and this is sort of what you should be thinking about every time. Well, I mean, obviously every rule is made to be broken, but for the most part. All right, we get a pretty, I'll call it calculated save there. So I won't stop the video, but we're sort of double committing in their corner here. But it ends up working out and becoming a goal for you. So you know what? I won't bag on it too much. Right. That's a pretty good kickoff. I'm into it. Right, so we're wasting some time stalling, although, yeah, I mean, like, Alan Becker here kind of does almost like the worst possible hit. It's like really low, and it's straight to the opponents. That's sort of the sort of thing you're going to try and avoid. And so even in threes, like in threes, you don't get a lot of time on the ball. I'll keep it going. You don't get a lot of time on the ball, but if you have the time to make a controlled first touch rather than just banging it away from you, then it's going to make a lot of difference. Be able to set up your next shot rather than just making the first hit that you can possibly do. We'll see if anything like that comes up for you. Alright. Oh, okay. You realised that you weren't going to get that, so you went down. That's good. Yeah, like here. Maybe this is an example. I think you what's the word? Here, I think you may have thought the danger was greater than it really was, ultimately. And so you sort of just gone all in on this big push. I think your teammate was ready to get that ball as well. So if we just go back a few seconds, I would have liked to see you, rather than you turning on that ball to try and desperately make this thing, because Lark wanted to get it, and he might have been able to make a better play on that. But you can see there's no opponents around, and you wouldn't know that, but you've taken ball cam off. Sorry. I mean, you have ball cam on, and you should consider like taking ball cam off with, like, when it's directly above you, taking ball cam off for a bit to see just where the opponents are, to see what sort of play you should be making. But you've made this sort of panic thing, and then the opponents could just wait for you to bean it, right? The key is, like, when you're trying to get it out of defense, so it's in your corner. So here's another situation where I think you're not under a lot of pressure. Like, for example, the times that you really just want to boom it downfield are particularly when your teammates are out of position or you've been boost starved, that kind of thing. Like here, rather than just banging it downfield, making some sort of first touch to try and make some sort of better play, offensive play, rather than just giving it to the opponents. You got lucky with that 50-50 there. Oh, I remember this one from when I watched it before. That was pretty savage. Although, I think that first bump, I suspect that first bump wasn't calculated. You just hit him right. I doubt you saw him, but then it just ended up working out well. Nice one. Pop that in your savage bump montage. Alright, we're getting a bit bullied in goal here. Right, we just beat the opponent there. Didn't end up being a great hit. Now you're in their goal. Ooh. Whew, okay. I'm just wondering how long we'll keep on going, if there's any more really important things to talk about. Yeah, so there we go. Another one of those dive challenges that puts you out of the play, unfortunately. That was, I mean, if you had managed to hit that, it would have been reasonable for you to go for that. Although Lark had theoretically, he did have the hit there, but the better hit there. Ultimately, it made it pretty. Ooh, it's getting pretty dicey. In these situations here, this is actually a good one to talk about. This is particularly when you're solo queuing. If you're in comms, you can be screaming to your teammate, "Oh, I've got it! You stay in net," or whatever, or whatever. You got all three of you are sort of in the sort of goal sort of position here, and then right here, your teammates are almost certainly going to try and make a play on the ball. It's just, I don't know. It's just in solo queuing at all. Everyone gets sort of like really greedy for it to try and get it out of there as soon as possible, and so after you can actually like stop a lot of goals against you just by staying in net in that situation. But just one of those solo queue things. There was another. Let me see how much time you had there. Yeah, this is a sort of situation where, I mean, where just banging it away from your car is does nothing for your for getting it out of defense. Ooh. Yeah, so when your teammate sees you turning around, that's his cue to come in. is not going to, or she, he or she's not going, because it might actually be a she, it's Ellen Becker, maybe that's a she, they're not going to expect you to turn back around to try and go for that ball. They're going to try and come in. And so this is kind of another cutting rotation thing. Even if you think you might have the best hit on it, and you may have had a better hit than Ellen Becker, but, and it works out poorly. But you may have had a better hit, maybe, but they don't know that. And so, look, I think, do we want to take a look at this last one before we're going to pop into free play in a moment and maybe talk about a few things about that, the last goal that happens. Bit of a whiff that, I'll skip forward a little bit more. Let's see what leads to that last goal. I can't remember if I watched this far or not. Alright. Okay, it was just a whiff on the wall there, and then you guys weren't ready. Okay, that's fine. Let's pop into free play for a second. Talk about some things before we sign off. So when you're rotating, so let's say you're in their corner, your low boost or whatever, and look, sorry, let's put the ball over here so we can sort of get a better idea, right? Sorry, just set this up real quick. Okay, so you're in their corner, the ball's doing some nonsense over here, and you're low boost now. So you're thinking about you're coming back now. And there was that moment where you sort of tried to go for a challenge, sort of, it was like a backflip challenge, and you ultimately lost it, but your teammate was also trying to come in. I mean, obviously we know about this, cutting rotation thing. You don't want to just suddenly turn around and startle your teammates because they didn't know you were going to turn around. But also, like when we're coming back, rather than sort of coming back on the same side as the ball, just make an effort to come back on the other side of the ball, back post, like this. It's a small change, but it's one that really works wonders in terms of keeping really good spacing as a team, being ready on defense. Obviously, it's not like, look, I'm no pro player, like and pro players, the best players aren't following these rules to the letter. Every rule is made to be broken. This is sort of just general guidelines that are going to help you get just overall better spacing in defense. So that's one of them. What's the other one? In terms of techniques, we want to. One of the things I noticed in this replay, and I took a wee little look at one or two of the other ones you've seen as well. I think there was that savage 10-2 loss. There was a few situations where you just whiffed in the air, and it led to a goal or whatever it might be. And so you need to start focusing on practicing aerials from really awkward positions. One thing to maybe start with is retreating saves. I think I've got a couple of packs on this. So aerialing up from positions that are awkward for you, rather than just straight ahead of you, is going to make a big difference. And so these could be ones like this, or ones that are really high in the air. I think this has got, oh goodness, that's not a great one, or that for that matter. There we go. That's going to make a big difference, I think, being able to be more comfortable in the air from any position. Oh, okay. I think those are the main things. I think we covered it. So hopefully that was of help. Thanks for watching. Bye bye.